Look at them. Thousands of red lights. Inside every single one of those cars, there is a story that Canada loves to sell to the world. The story of the immigrant who arrived, studied, grinned, landed the corporate job, the senior manager title, the six-figure salary. They are commuting back to the suburbs. Heated seats, safe neighborhoods, stability. But if we could place a microphone inside those cars right now, we wouldn't hear celebration. We would hear anxiety. We would hear frantic mental math. How am I going to clear the visa balance by the 15th? If the variable rate goes up another quarter point, we are underwater. You did everything right. You followed the script, but you feel like you are being punished for it. You aren't crazy, and you aren't alone. There is an invisible machine operating in the background of your financial life. A mechanism designed to extract wealth from high earners who aren't quite rich enough to escape the system. They use your psychology against you. They use your desire for belonging against you. In the next 20 minutes, we are going to dissect the anatomy of your invisible bankruptcy. We aren't going to talk about skipping the morning latte. We are going to talk about how your brain has been rewired to be an excellent interest pair and a terrible wealth builder. The first error is mathematical, but the root is psychological. We suffer from nominal anchoring. You anchor your financial self-esteem to your gross income, the $100,000 club. Sounds powerful, doesn't it? But let's look at the real numbers for 2025. The moment that money leaves the company payroll, the CRA is already there. Federal tax, provincial tax, but it doesn't stop there. CPP, EI. In 2025, the CPP contribution ceiling went up again. They call it security for the future. For your cash flow today, it's a cut to the jugular. If you live in Ontario or British Columbia, your $100,000 turns into roughly $72,000 net. That is $6,000 a month. Now, apply the Canadian lifestyle inflation. An average two-bedroom rent in the GTA or GVA hits $3,200. You are left with $2,800. Internet, mobile plans, some of the most expensive in the world, car insurance, groceries at Loblaws. Do you see it? You are living on the edge, not because you are incompetent, but because the structural cost of living in Canada is designed to absorb 100% of the upper middle class income. The system relies on you looking at the gross number and thinking, I can afford that car. But your net worth screams, no, you can't. This cognitive dissonance is the first step toward debt. You spend like a rich person making $100,000, but you have the purchasing power of someone who made $60,000 in 2015. This is something the native-born finance channels will never tell you. If you are an immigrant, you pay an extra tax, the catch-up tax. The average Canadian, born and raised here, had 20 years to build credit, a network, and maybe inherit a down payment or live in their parents' basement to save up. You arrived with 2 suitcases and a converted bank account that was worth 5 times less. You are running a marathon where your competitors started at kilometer 30 and you started at kilometer 0. The psychology here is brutal. You feel the rush. This rush makes you skip steps. You don't want to rent a moldy basement for 5 years. You want the house now to prove to your family back home that it was worth it.
You send remittances to help parents abroad, draining your ability to invest here. This emotional weight, the need to validate migration through visible consumption, is a financial trap. You buy the German luxury SUV, not because you need it, but because it is the trophy that says, I made it. I am a successful Canadian. But the bank doesn't see your success. You just see a perfect customer to finance a depreciating asset at 8% interest. In Canada, real estate isn't an investment. It's a religion. There is crushing social pressure. You are throwing money away on rent, so you enter the market. You scrape together the minimum 5% or 20% down payment. You leverage yourself to the absolute maximum the stress test allows. But nobody warns you about the phantom costs. Property tax, land transfer tax, and the silent killer, condo fees. In older buildings in Toronto, you could be paying $8,001,000 a month just in maintenance fees. Money that never comes back. It is a second rent. Psychologically, the address ego blinds you. You would rather be house poor in Oakville than financially free in a smaller apartment. The result? You have a net worth of $1 million on paper, but you don't have $500 cash to fix a broken tooth. You're a hostage in your own home. your liquidity is zero. An investor with no liquidity is just a poor person with a big house. We cannot ignore the climate. Canadian winter is expensive. The lack of sunlight, the minus 20 degrees Celsius wind chill. It affects your brain chemistry. Dopamine drops. What spikes dopamine fast? Buying, eating, the hibernation tax. You order Uber Eats because you don't want to step out into the freeze. You subscribe to 5 streaming services because there is nothing to do outside. You book flights to the Caribbean on a credit card in February because you feel like you will snap if you don't see the sun. Corporations know this. Marketing in January and February is aggressive. Escapism. And here enters the most dangerous form of lifestyle creep, the outsourcing of life. You pay someone to clean the house, someone to bring food, someone to walk the dog. You justify it by saying your time is valuable, $100,000 a year, remember? But if you aren't using that saved time to generate more income, you are just burning capital to buy momentary comfort. It is a slow hemorrhage. $50 here, $30 there. By the end of the month, $1,500 has vanished into convenience. If you manage to survive all of this and have money left over, the final predator is waiting. Your bank. You walk into the branch, sit down with a financial advisor. They are polite. Okay, they offer you mutual funds for your RRSP. What don't they say? That Canada has some of the highest management expense ratios mayors in the developed world. They charge 2% to 2.5% annually. Sounds small, your brain thinks. But over 20 years, that 2% eats almost 40% of your total gains. The bank is not your partner. The bank is a corporation reporting record profits every quarter, extracted directly from the financial illiteracy of its clients. By leaving your money in these funds, or worse, sitting in a checking account, earning nothing, you are voluntarily transferring your future wealth to the bank's shareholders. Inertia is the biggest mistake of high earners. You work too hard to earn the money, but you are too lazy to learn how to protect it. The system is perfect. It gives you enough to keep turning the gears, but charges you enough so you can never leave the machine. A high salary in Canada, without financial literacy, is just a shinier pair of golden handcuffs. How do you break the cycle? Stop acting like the average. The average is broke. Audit your ego. Do you need that house now, or is it insecurity? Learn self-directed investing. Open an account at a discount brokerage. Buy index ETFs. Kill the bank fees. No one will care about your money more than you do. Live below the illusion. If you make $100,000, live like you make $70,000. Invest the gap. The margin is your freedom. Canada is a land of opportunity, but only for those who understand the rules of the game. For the others, it is just a beautiful place to work until you die. The choice is yours. Continue being a passive consumer, or become the strategist of your own life. If this video made you uncomfortable, it's because it's true. Subscribe. We are going to dismantle the financial lies one by one. Welcome to the Canadian Mindset.